friend. How are you?
Hi, friend. I feel like I haven't seen you forever or
It
talked
does
to you
feel
forever.
it does feel like that,
It's been
doesn't
like,
it?
what, 4 days?
Oh
3
my
days?
gosh, I know. It's funny how you go a couple days and it's like, "Wait, when's the last time I talked to you? It's been
I
so long."
know. I
Oh
know.
gosh. Well, I thought we could check in today and start with a WTF moment for the week. Does that
Let's
sound
do
good?
it. Yeah, let's do
Awesome.
it.
So I am sure that this will resonate with a lot of different people, but I don't know about you, but when I come home sometimes I can see exactly every step of what my husband did in the household. So like the other day I was like, "Oh, hey, did you have cereal?" And he's like, "How did you know?" And I'm
Because
like,
you're clairvoyant, my dear. Because
because
you have cameras. You're watching on your whatever camera.
because the cereal box is out and the cabinet to the
Evidence.
bowl is there. Like you leave a trail of evidence. And so I was cracking up and I'm like, I wonder how many, people think about this way, like this with their partners of like, dude, I know exactly what you did because you leave an entire trail. Do you go through that?
Or you know exactly what they didn't do, more importantly, because nothing is done. That's why.
Totally.
Either way,
Totally.
same. I
Yeah.
think I think for me, I think that the trail is more of I
Yeah.
call it bugs evidence because now you can see this trail of what happened. You can kind of
Totally.
you can put the pieces to the puzzle of the crime scene of what happened and what he ate for dinner as they were rushing out to baseball practice and
Exactly.
what he forgot or,
Yep.
whatever. And
Exactly.
on the flip side is what didn't happen when shit's still there, not cleaned up, just that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I
Yes.
think that we've been getting used to, all of our kids, like we've talked about, are a little bit older and they've all started kind of moving back home after graduation, that kind of thing. So sometimes I'm like, is that a Johnny trail or is that someone else's trail nowadays?
Because
Because,
they're
yeah.
getting bigger and they're
Yeah.
learning.
Yep.
This is what I hope to break. So all you friends out there, this is what my goal now for my 13-year-old is to break habits. I'm messy, messy, messy. So when I come in, there can be a shoe right in the doorway. And then the other shoe is maybe in the bathroom. Like that's
Got it.
totally normal for me. That's normal for bugs as
How?
well.
How is there a
I don't know.
shoe? You
I
just
don't
like
know.
kick them off as you go?
Kinda. And it just doesn't bother me. It just one of
Got
those
it.
things that just does not bother me. Chad, on
Oh
the other
my
hand, is
God.
very like, I don't understand why one shoe has to be here and the other shoe is in the bathroom. Like, wait, that makes no sense. Although I don't understand when I come home, he kind of takes over the corner of the couch.
Ah,
For those of you who know and love me, you will understand the corner of the couch phrase because the corner of the couch. I mean, honestly, when I was when I was recovering, and we can go into this. When I was recovering, I was like, "Dang, do I get to sit in the corner of the couch now? At least." So yeah,
did you? Did you get to
I
sit in the
did,
corner?
I did, I did,
Wow,
I did.
awesome. It's
Then I
funny,
felt like I was
I
getting my
too have a
sores.
corner of the couch, but almost all of my friends talk about their partners who have their corner of the couch, so it must be a thing,
Well, because it's like the most comfortable kind of spot, right? Like you're
right?
cozied up and you just
Yep,
kind of have everything situated there. So yes, the
totally.
corner is definitely those the L couches now. Like who doesn't have one of those
Yep,
L couches? Oh, I do. One of my friends does not have an L couch, but she has a huge long couch so you can just like lounge on it. It's amazing.
yep, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the L couch and we fight over who gets the
Yeah,
corner
for
spot.
sure.
For
For
sure.
sure.
That's so funny. Well, hey, I wanted to chat with you a little bit. I know that this past week has been kind of a crazy one for you. You want to give us
Yeah.
an episode
Oh,
update?
sure. An update. Yes, 100%. So, I had my surgery. Friends out there, I decided to I didn't decide to. It was kind of decided for me, and just was like, yeah, fine. As I think I mentioned that the pathology for the thyroid nodule came back as kind of this suspicious looking nodule. That the treatment for that, honestly, is just to take it out, and a pretty benign surgery as far as surgery goes. I had it done last Thursday, went to the surgery center, luckily, and it was an outpatient procedure. So I had it the
Right.
morning and I was there for a little bit, recovering because they want to keep you there and make sure you don't have any bleed in the front of the neck. And then I went home. And all is well. I went home Thursday evening. My family, like we talked about, it takes a village to help. So my family Bugs ended up staying with my family, and my cousins, younger cousins, took
Good.
him to Dave and Buster's and things, and just kind of kept him busy. And I just chilled, honestly. That night, I was super, super sore, though. I had a really, really sore throat where I kind of had a hoarse voice and it was really kind of difficult to swallow. But lots of soups and bone broth and yogurts and things. So it was great.
Great.
Friday happened and I worked from home for the most part and then was back to work really on Monday. So all is well. I will say one thing that I wasn't expecting, and I'm not sure if anyone else has felt this. And as the provider side, I hear this from patients all the time. And we always chalk it up to anesthesia just because we don't know what else to chalk it up to. Like if you're like, I don't know what that means, but guess what? It's definitely from anesthesia. And no doubt anesthesia makes you have some crazy effects. I've heard hair loss, like tons of hair loss. I've heard sweats, like profuse sweating to where they have to change their pillows and their sheets at night.
Wow.
And, we'll do a spine surgery or a joint surgery. And I hear that. I'm like, well, I don't know. It's not from your joints, not from your spine. It's definitely anesthesia. But what I did feel, crazily enough, is I felt like I had run a marathon.
Really?
So it wasn't Friday, it was Saturday. I literally felt sore. Like my body, I had done a marathon. I had worked out like I had never worked out in my life. Everything to lift my arm, my legs. It was I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. And I was like, oh my God, is this really what this feels like when people like,
Yeah.
oh, you're going to feel like a truck ran over you. Well, guess what? A truck ran over me. Totally. I was like, oh my God, this is really happening.
That's crazy.
And I didn't really do much about it. I actually
How long did that last?
Well, guess what? ChatGPT says it can last 2 to 3 days, and it kind of did. But what I did do is I got one of those machine guns, not machine gun, those muscle guns, and I did my muscles. The massage guns.
Yeah,
and it kind of helped.
Oh, good.
So that was probably the worst of it all. And then I think my voice, I can't hit a high note yet, but that's okay.
Oh, man.
So singing in the shower, singing in the car, it's a little hard. I can't really yell, so I can't really raise my voice at Chad and or Bugs, which is
the boys are like, yes, this is awesome.
The boys, we're not the shout family yet. I'm not shouting from one room to another, making sure that things are happening. So all in all, having to go under the knife, it was a very good experience.
Good.
I joked because I had it at the surgery center, and I swear to God, all the nurses at the surgery center were amazing. And I think that the culture at the surgery center is much different than the main OR. But it was like, are they piping like mushrooms through the walls or through the air conditioner? Because everybody was so happy and so nice. And so like Chad was like, they all seem like they're from the Midwest. Like, what's going on? And it's like, I know it was a little odd.
That's so funny.
That was good. The other thing that was amazing is, I don't know if any of you out there know what I'm talking about with this, but there are these like mesh chonies.
Oh, the mesh underwear.
Those are those mesh underwear, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they are
delivery nurse
amazing. Yeah. After I had Tommy, I wore those for like a week. I had different pairs, and I would take them from L&D even after.
Yeah.
And so I was like, listen, I know these people here. I don't want to be completely naked. I want to be covered up. And so I got to wear the mesh panties, which were great. And I didn't have to have my boobies flopping around. So they were covered with the gown, which was amazing. Thank God, because the incision is right here. So it didn't need to be. So that was good. Yeah, I wasn't in a lot of pain.
It's funny that you think about that though, because like I've been getting my knee done, and I would do it at my surgery center where I work, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to be naked around my coworkers. It's just a little weird.
It is a little weird. And, honestly, as a provider, when you're in the operating room, you're there in the moment. And I promise you that like, you don't see that person the next day and be like, oh, I saw you.
Oh yeah,
I saw what you look like. You don't do that. Like you just don't. It's weird. It's like all of a sudden you forget about it and you're not even thinking about that.
Totally.
But as the person going under surgery, you think that. You're like,
you do think about it.
I mean, listen, I shaved my legs. Okay. And I never shaved my legs. And I was like, this, I need to shave my legs for. I even told the nurse that I was like, I shaved my legs for you. And she was like, okay, thanks. I appreciate it.
She's like, I wouldn't have noticed one way or the other.
I don't care either. Right. So yeah, I did that.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then I came home and it was great. I didn't have a ton of pain, but they told me to take Tylenol, and I was like, sure, no problem. Tylenol, easy. Well, guess what? Not one piece of adult Tylenol did I have in the house.
Oh, no.
So it's like,
So you had children's
interesting.
Tylenol?
So I took Bugs's children's Tylenol, and they're chewable, no less grape-flavored. So I had like 6 chewable Tylenol. It's like, this is amazing. This is great.
Oh my gosh. Did they work? Did it?
Sure. Tylenol's Tylenol.
See?
Acetaminophen, whether it's chewable and or pills, whatever, 160 milligrams or 500 milligrams. If you take enough, it's the same stuff.
It's the same thing.
So
That's
it worked.
so funny. So you said that you were working the next day.
Yeah,
What is
just
up with
demons.
that?
Well, because I cannot just sit still. I just can't. And I knew in the back of my head, I was like, oh my gosh, there's going to be so many things. And, sometimes when you go on vacation and you're like, okay, I'm just going to turn it off. But then, when you come back, you're going to have thousands and thousands. And it's almost easier to just kind of do it as you go. So you're not coming back to craziness. So that's what I did. Plus, what am I going to do all day long by myself, not doing anything? Like Chad was out,
Watch a
was
bunch
out.
of TV. But I also work all the time when I'm sick, and I don't really know how to not do it. And I think it's kind of the same. It like takes your mind off of not feeling sick, and it makes you feel a little bit normal in some way, right?
Yeah.
So,
Normalcy. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So all is well. So then today I had my post-op appointment, and good news, the pathology is benign, which most of these nodules are. So I'm super happy about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it was, I'll do some labs in a little bit and see if I have to actually take thyroid hormone. So most of the time for like just the education part of this, most of the time if they take half the lobe, so your thyroid has 2 lobes, a right and a left. And it's a big endocrine gland that's responsible for your thyroid hormone. And so you either have too much hyper, you have too little hypo. And depending on what that is, you obviously have different symptoms.
Right.
And then you figure out you either have something wrong with your thyroid or, whatever the case may be. So in this regard, I don't know if I'm going to have to take thyroid supplement. Most of the time you don't, but I'll take some labs to see what the levels are and whether or not I actually need to. There's also another little gland called the parathyroid that is super little, and it sits behind the thyroid. And so a lot of times when you take the thyroid out, you inadvertently take a parathyroid, but there's a couple of them. And so sometimes if you take that, then you lose calcium. And parathyroid is important for your calcium. So then I have to watch that. And then I read the op report, and it didn't say anything about the parathyroid, but then I saw the pathology today, and it said that there was 1 parathyroid gone. So
so you might have to worry about that too.
It's fine. If the worst I have to do is take a thyroid supplement and a calcium supplement, and this thing is benign, who cares? It's like I'm grateful for that, right? Like,
totally.
That's easy. That's an easy fix. Happy to do it.
Yeah. I was curious. I know that you were really stoic through this entire process, and you had a really great you were very optimistic about all of this. But after it was done, how did you feel to know that there wasn't cancer and this isn't something you're worried about?
Fantastic. I came back to my bitchy self. I was like, sweet. Now I can really be bitchy again. No problem.
You're like, just kidding. I thought I had to be nice to the rest of you because I thought I was dying. I'm not. I'm back, bitches.
I went to lunch with my friends after, and I was like, yep, I'm back with a vengeance. Even worse. Even worse. I've got a clean bill of health. And now wait, here I go.
Watch me world. Here I go. That's so funny. And does Bugs know everything that's going on, and how did you explain it to him?
He does. I just said, hey, I got a bump. I mean, he knows that I'm a surgery person, so he kind of understands surgery. And Chad's gone through knee replacement with him knowing as well. My dad has gone through triple bypass with him knowing. My stepdad went through triple bypass, so he's not afraid of surgery necessarily. He went through my gallbladder as well, so he kind of understands surgery, which is good because everybody's survived the surgery, and thank God. So I don't think it's super, super scary. I just, told him I had this bump on my thyroid, and we were going to take it out just because it was a bump and it was something that was recommended. And, I was home that night, and same. And, he was talking to his friends, and it was like, yeah, my mom had some throat surgery, and no, she's totally normal. She's doing her normal stuff. So I don't know. I was like, okay.
That's good though that you kept it fairly normal in the house and you didn't make a scary big deal for him.
I had to.
Yeah. I always think about that, like when you have things like that. We never really have had surgery around our kids, and mind you, my kids are used to like a nurse in the house and those conversations. But I always think about like, how do you introduce some of that to your family? Yes. We have had compartment syndrome in our house. Yes. My daughter has had a couple orthopedic surgeries, but not until she was an adult. So,
I
yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, I definitely recommend trying to avoid surgery at all cost, 100%,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But if you have to have something, I mean, the nice thing about things now is that things are more minimally invasive and shorter surgeries and techniques are better and
Totally.
all things are better. So surgery isn't super, super scary, just like a C-section. I
Yeah.
know that the world out there does not want you to have a C-section. For whatever reason, I never understood that because I was never
Right.
afraid of surgery. And I was like, oh my God, C-section, good.
Getting your surgery at a surgery center, like that is a
Yes.
key way to also make sure that, I mean, not that hospitals don't do an amazing job, and I'm not saying that at all, but surgery centers really have a great reputation as a great place to go for surgeries in and out. Yep.
And now, as you know, a lot of the orthopedic surgeries, knee replacements, hip replacements, shoulder replacements, even a lot
Yeah.
of spine surgeries now are done now
Outpatient.
at the surgery centers, which are outpatient, which is fantastic
Yeah.
because you can, for the right patient, if you don't have a lot of comorbidities, it's nicer. It's a more pleasant experience. It's a
Yep.
different culture. It's a different vibe.
Totally.
And the cool thing is that the equipment, it's not just specific to a hospital. So you can have the same equipment at the surgery center. So it's really not a
Yeah.
huge compromise. It's just simply if you're healthy or not, or healthier.
Mhm. Yeah.
Obviously, there's
Healthier.
obvious like regulations and certain
Right.
BMI and certain cutoffs that you have to abide by. But it is nice. It's a nicer, and I think it's for the nurses. It's just you're not seeing a lot of sick patients, and so
Totally.
I mean, the sicker the patient is, that the harder it is, the more complicated it can be, and the
Yep.
more like energy. It's an energy sucker just because you feel for these people and you're being super empathetic.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
surgery center is great.
Yeah. A lot of my friends, who aren't medical, whenever they have to have a surgery, they're like, I don't know, what's a surgery center? I'm like, you know
Yeah,
what? They're great. I'm telling you, you'll really appreciate the environment and,
yeah,
the fact that you can be there and,
yeah,
they do that surgery there all the time and just getting people kind of excited to do it. And then they come back and they're like, yeah, that was a really great experience.
yeah.
Staff were so nice and very
I mean, it's
Midwest, as
definitely
I
the
would
way
say.
things are going as far as medicine's concerned.
Yeah.
And insurance reimbursement, it makes a lot more sense to do it at a surgery center than it does at a hospital. You're
Yep.
utilizing less resources or cheaper
Totally.
resources,
Yeah.
at a surgery center.
Yep.
And it's just everybody, the patient buying in too. I mean, and you do like,
Yeah.
I would tell anybody that has, and I educate this with patients all the time. If you're going to have surgery at a surgery center, just you have to have things teed up. So you have to make sure
Totally.
that things are at home already for you, your walkers, your
Mhm.
canes, your commodes, your food, all these like kind of prep things. Just make sure it's there. And if you have someone
Totally.
there, there's no reason why you need to spend the night at the hospital. Hospitals
No.
are usually for sick people. Sometimes the infection rate is a little higher. Obviously, you're not going to be
Mhm.
there a long time. But yeah, surgery center is definitely the thing that's coming up, and you can do a
Yeah.
ton of surgeries at a surgery center. Especially
Yeah.
like, no, it's great. I mean, that's
Mhm.
your world.
It is. It has become my world. It was not
Yeah.
my world until recently. And then, but it's funny now with my new world and my new
Oh
job,
yeah,
it's
that's
not
right.
less and
I
less
still
my
don't. I
world
still don't know
again.
I didn't know what you
I
did
know.
before, and I now don't know what you do now either.
So I know we were just talking about my new world today and like how things are developing and like it's been very interesting building a new product and launching a new product. Like I've always been on the clinical design side of stuff, but this time I get to be on like thinking about how we're going to market this and how we're going to spread the word and how we're going to design the website and like stuff that I just have no experience with. So it's been very
How to
cool.
do social media.
I'm learning. I'm learning all of this stuff that I have no idea how to do, which is so funny. So, thank God for Chat GPT and for like me, like literally, right? I'm like, how do I, how the hell do I post on Instagram? Blah, 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 because I just don't know. But, you learn and then you're like, oh, new skill set. So I've learned quite a bit about like marketing and payments and just the most random stuff, but it's cool. It's been so fun to get to design, that's for sure. So
Put some new wrinkles in your brain.
I know. Yeah. Cause right, you're supposed to keep putting wrinkles in your brain so your brain doesn't get old.
Yeah.
Hmm. I know. Well, I'm so glad. The other question that I was going to talk to you about with you deciding to work post surgery was your work very supportive about you taking the time off and doing what you needed to do?
Yes.
Awesome.
100%.
That's great.
Yeah, they were very well. So
Yep.
yes, they were super supportive.
Good.
But I think that they were happy that I took some days off, literally, and I was
Yeah.
still working, but it was fine. I took some days off.
Yeah. That's so
Um,
funny.
but a lot of people I didn't tell that I was doing this,
You just
honestly.
said you were off for a day.
I just said PTO,
Yeah.
only a couple of people, because I'm not one of those other people that need a lot of the attention, and I just didn't
Yeah.
want all the attention. So when I was walking around with this thing and a little bit of swelling, they were like, "Wait, did you have neck surgery?" And I was like, "I did have neck surgery." They're like, "Did Crazy Rich Asian do neck surgery on you?" And I was like,
no.
"No."
They're like, "What did you do? You
No,
did?"
for sure, because this is what the incisions look like for the neck
Right.
surgeries for the anterior neck. I mean, it's a little bit more to the left what we do, or what we did. But it's like, no, absolutely
That's
not.
so funny. That's so
Please.
funny. That's what people assumed.
Totally.
How funny. Well, I'm so glad that they were supportive. I have worked for people who have been supportive, and I've worked for people who are not supportive and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so it's always really nice to have an employer who supports your time off and gives you that
Mind you,
flexibility.
I'll be
That's
there.
so funny.
Yeah.
That's not my current employer, but one of my past ones. When I worked for a large medical center, I was super sick for a couple of weeks with some like stomach stuff. And they literally were like, "This is extremely inconvenient for us. Do you mind just working from home?" And I'm like, I'll try to work from home, but I'm really sick. I can't stay awake. And they were like, "Well, PTO is going to be very difficult to grant right now." And I'm like, "I don't even think this is PTO. I think this is sick time. And I think I don't really have a choice." You know what I mean? So yeah. So it's nice that you have employers that are like, "Yep, take that time, do what you want to do."
I
Because
almost feel like-
ultimately it's part of how you decide to stay at a company.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you're okay. And I'm glad that
Me
the surgery is
too.
off your shoulders.
Me
Much
too.
needed. Awesome.
Me too.
So I thought we could end our evening tonight with kind of going through our reflections and what we're grateful for. I'm going to make you start this time.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm just grateful that I got a benign diagnosis. That's for sure. That's the first and foremost.
That's a good one.
Gratefulness. That's a super huge one for sure. That's one. Okay, you go.
Nope. You got to do all
I got to
three.
do another one.
Yep.
I actually wrote some of these down the other day. And I'm trying to
cheating.
No, it's not cheating, because I was like, oh, this is exactly, because this is what happens, honestly. Like I'm grateful for something, and then something pisses me off, and then I'm like, oh, where was my grateful thing again? What was I grateful for thing? So that's what happens. No, I'm grateful for obviously the benign diagnosis. I'm actually very grateful that I work in a spot where I was able to coordinate and have it done at the surgery center. I knew all the right players, and they really went to bat for me. And the surgeon literally operated at the main hospital, came to do me at the surgery center, went back to the main hospital.
That's
so
awesome.
Super grateful for all of that. And I got a lot of flowers, and I got a lot of cards, and I got a lot of good wishes on text. So very grateful that I had everybody. I felt a ton of love post-operatively.
Awesome.
And just, people that I wouldn't even think would send me stuff. And so I felt a lot of love, and I felt very grateful to have all that support in my life. And you know who's who when things like that happen, honestly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds like you have an amazing community around you. Very cool.
I do.
That's so cool. And I'm so glad for your benign as well. All right. Well, my gratefuls are not half as cool as yours.
They're all great. They're all cool.
They are. But I'm grateful that I don't have to worry about something like a benign result, because that would be so scary. But so what am I grateful for this week? I was thinking that I am very grateful as we're going to plan Mother's Day. I was thinking the other day, I need to give my kids a shout out and tell them how grateful I am. And I'm grateful for Emery is in the thick of interviews with a couple different companies post his bachelor's, which is really exciting. I'm grateful that he's having a positive experience so far.
Good.
And what was my last one that I'm grateful for?
You might have to write it down.
It's cheating. I can't. Just kidding. I am grateful for this week. I wasn't feeling 100%. And my husband was so sweet about just popping out to get some stuff for me and offering to help. So I'm grateful that my husband was thoughtful for me, and I got the corner couch.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. You got the corner.
Exactly. All right, friend. We'll have a great evening tonight, and I will talk to you soon. I'm glad you're doing better. We'll give that voice a rest.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.